Hey everyone, Kyle once again, and welcome back to another movie review. Um, for this movie review, I'm going to be reviewing a film that came out in 2013, and it's a horror film. And for this one, I'm going to review which overall I do like the film, and that is The Conjuring. Now, The Conjuring, it came out during the summer of 2013, and the film was a big hit. For a horror film, it was a big hit. Made an impressively a large amount of money. It made about over 300 million. I think it was like 318 million overall on a minimum budget of 20 million. So it was a very huge hit. Um, and it's directed by James Wan, the director of Saw and Insidious, and which for a film from James Wan, who I like as a director. I like the first Saw movie. One day I will review the franchise for that. But it had some, but there are some pretty bad sequels in that franchise though. But overall, I do like the first Saw movie, um, which was his breakout film. And then he directed two films that came out in 2007, which I do like both of them. For the first one, he directed Dead Silence, which overall I did like the film. I didn't hate that one, but overall I did like that one. And then he directed Death Sentence, starring Kevin Bacon and John Goodman, which that's another one I like. I thought Kevin Bacon did a good job in. And then he directed then he directed Insidious, which that's another film I do like though, but I thought this took which also it's another film that stars Patrick Wilson, who was in this film, which he was also in. Um, I liked the film, and I thought Patrick Wilson was fine in that film, and the demon, which I thought was pretty cool looking, and although the very last minute of the film, of course, it left a sequel. It was indicating there was going to be a sequel, of course, though. But that last minute, I didn't. I was like, it's gonna be a sequel to that. So, and then James Wan then later on he directed the sequel, Insidious 2, but he didn't direct number 3 though, the prequel one. So he directed the first two Insidious films, then but not number 3. And then he go in and direct this film, which both films came out in 2013. This film and Insidious Chapter 2. Um, I do like the first Insidious, and overall I do like this film. I do. And then James Wan was going to go on to direct Furious 7, which I don't hate the movie though, but I prefer the previous two sequels better, Fast 5 and Fast and Furious 6 though, but James Wan he didn't do a bad job directing though. It was just how the film went. But I don't hate the film because I like Vin Diesel and Paul Walker for his last film. Gave his last final performance. May he rest in peace. Like Dwayne Johnson. Jason Statham was good though, but I thought his villain was underused for most parts. Which if I do review it, I'll explain why. And then James Wan is going to direct which basically the reason why I'm going to be doing the reason why I'm reviewing this film because the sequel there's going to be a sequel coming out this year in June on June 10th, which James Wan is returning to direct. That's the reason why I'm reviewing this one because I saw the first teaser to The Conjuring 2, and then I saw not recently the newer trailer that came out. Okay, it's nice to see that Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga they come back because they're the two main reasons why I like the film overall because I like them because they're playing real life paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren, even well, which else gets to that bird, but The Conjuring 2. Now, the first I said that this is based on a true story, which of course some of these things for horror films based on a true story is all sometimes a big lie though. Even though there are some things that did happen in real life though, but because Ed, Laurie, Warren, the reports they inspired the Amityville horror, and they also they looked into the which inspired The Haunting in Connecticut, which is another horror film that I haven't seen in a while, which I have to rewatch again. The Haunting in Connecticut. Um, even though they play the real life paranormal investigators, but at the same time, how the film looks though, still makes me think that it's not based on a true story because most of the things are it's not really based on true stories nowadays though, but they try to indicate if it is. But they're playing the real life paranormal investigators, but at the same time, the look of the film makes me think it's not based on a true story though. I don't know, it's just a weird thing though, but but they both did a pretty good job playing Ed, Laurie, Warren, Patrick Wilson, Vera Farmiga. But The Conjuring 2, that film looks like it's not based on a true story. If the way how the new one looks, because it says that takes place, they go in all the way to London to visit this new family that's being haunted, but this little girl that's being haunted, And the teaser how all this thing where all the crosses are turning upside down. All of a sudden there is this out of the darkness, this figure pops out, which of course is supposed to be another thing nowadays, which I can't stand nowadays. Now, in order to scare you nowadays, it's always jump scares. I mean, jump scares do work once in a while though, but not all the time. That's suspense nowadays to get people scared, to jump out of their seats. It's just boo scares. Doing it too much makes it not work though, but Conjuring 2, even though you had James Wan and is returning to direct, and Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, they're coming back though, but I'm not entirely sure on The Conjuring 2 though, but I think this, to be honest, this film didn't need a sequel. The film didn't have a sequel bait ending. So, but The Conjuring 2, I saw the newest trailer, and I'll not entirely sure though. But this one I do like overall because I do remember during the summer I saw this with my brother and a couple of his friends because they wanted to see this film. So I went with them and saw it. And overall, well, I wasn't sure at first though, but until I bought the DVD, giving it a look for a second time, overall I do like the film. Although now I look at the reception that when it came out, they got a lot of praise for it. But seeing how why I got the praise for it, it's just how the way it is. It's like the other films, the other typical scary films, which I wasn't scared of. Try to make it look like Insidious and Sinister, which Sinister that was not that good at all, especially the lead character. But overall, I was not scared by this film. This was considered on the back here from Chicago sometimes one of the scariest movies ever made. I would disagree with that. I wasn't completely scared at all by the film. But it has an 86% of Rotten Tomatoes, has a 7.5 on IMDb, high ratings. I just think it's a little bit overhyped though, but it is what it is. I saw it and it looked like it's just one of those scary films that that like Insidious or those other looking horror films like those movies. But and one thing I don't understand is that I forget what Insidious is rated though, but this film has been rated R though, but the film doesn't look like it's been rated R because nowadays horror films are PG-13 rated now. I mean, it's like often you get an R-rated horror film though, but I've seen there's been way too many PG-13 horror films like these. This film could easily have been PG-13, but maybe there was a couple of swear words and stuff like that. But it could have been easily be PG-13 like those other ones. For ones, think what was it, the new horror film that came out this year, The Forest. I think that was PG-13, and there was a couple of horror films I've heard of, and they came out last year. I think they were like PG-13 as well. But just to get my point is, this film could have been easily been rated PG-13 just the way the film looked. But what do I know? But anyway, I'm getting over 11 minutes in, but I'm going to talk about the story. Okay, talking about the story is that it's set in the 70s, 1971, in the state of Rhode Island. A family moves in. A family with four, or what was it? Yeah, five girls. A family with five daughters. They move into this farmhouse, and of course, typical things start happening in the house. But in the beginning of the film, it has Ed and Lorraine Warren, Patrick Wilson, Vera Farmiga. They were working on another case about this doll named Annabelle, trying to help this woman, two other women, because they were being haunted by this doll, Annabelle, which of course that leads to a spin-off prequel, I should say, called Annabelle, which happened before that doll was in the possession of these women that you see in the film. They help them out. They take the doll with them because in their house they have like all these knickknacks and stuff that's been possessed by other demons. So they take the Annabelle doll with them and put in this big glass case. And then they give them a little bit of insight, like to audiences, like school audiences. School audiences looks like it takes place in a school, where they give an insight to some other cases, like they're trying to do an exorcism on this guy who's being possessed, and Patrick Wilson tells the husband at the farmhouse there was more about that, like how the possessed guy grabbed Vera Farmiga's arm, and because she has this gift about seeing things, like out, like people that can't see, like apparitions and stuff, and he held onto her arm, and she saw something very horrible, and she screamed, and this is how he explained that she didn't come out of her room for quite a while after that. So, but he's displaying all the reports in their cases, and okay, this is pretty good because Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, I thought they did a pretty good job as Ed and Lorraine Warren. But then we don't get to see much of them after. We don't get to see much of them after because the family moved in, and it was mostly focused on them. And of course, when they move in, things start happening, like a door opening, or the instance where there's this big wardrobe cabinet there that was there before they moved in. Like when they're playing hide and seek, like with the daughter the younger daughter was playing hide and seek with the mom, played by Lili Taylor, who was the Haunting with Liam Neeson, which that was not that good of a movie, and she was also in Ransom, Ron Howard's Ransom, and she's playing hide and seek with a daughter, and she hears noises, like thinking that's her, like goes to the wardrobe and you hear the clapping, Or when it's just like you saw, like there was like in the poster, or of course in the trailer, where she goes into the cellar because she hears something down there, and when the door shuts on her, it's just pitch black. When she lights a match, of course, like from this angle right here, the hands pop up right behind her, and everything goes pitch black, and she's screaming. So that's I guess that's considered one of the, probably some people like one of the famous parts of the movie is the hands popping up behind Lili Taylor in the dark when she's holding the match. Um, then things started getting a little bit out of control. Like the pictures are falling down and getting really cold up in the upstairs, like they're being cold. Or one of the daughters, they see an apparition, like one of the daughters like is sleepwalking, and they notice that this it's a girl on top of the wardrobe cabinet, which kind of reminded me of the girl from The Ring, with the raggedy clothes and the long black hair. And then it just leaps out at them. And then it goes to a point where Lili Taylor is watching another listening to another case file from Ed and Lorraine Warren, and she goes to them asking to help investigate at their house. And which, of course, another thing, they had a dog at the beginning. Of course, I knew right away the dog was gonna die, because sometimes this always happens and stuff like that. Well, not really. In the original Amityville Horror, the dog didn't die because James Wan went down there to save the dog. But a lot of times it's, oh, okay, the dog's gonna die. And of course, the next morning after they moved in, the dog is found outside dead on the porch, or behind a bush. Of course, I knew the dog was gonna die, and lo and behold, it did. But then after that, because of the point there were Lili Taylor is asking for their help to come by to look around, and then they instantly feel something like Vera Farmiga, like I said, she has this give the scene things, like she's seeing like apparitions like behind, and like when she sees their 5 children, like she sees like a black shadowy figure like behind them, or other places, or when the little girl has this their youngest daughter has this the wind up music box, and there's this little swirly thing mirror that's in it, and it's like da 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 da, which of course that music was heard in the very first teaser for The Conjuring 2. And she sees a little apparition of a boy, which forget what the boy's name was, but as the swirly mirror is going around, you see an apparition of the boy. Or when they go outside, which of course, when Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson are outside, of course, it comes to this here, the tree, where she sees something. It cuts to Patrick Wilson, and you see legs behind him, and of course, it gives an indication that there was a woman that hung herself right on this here tree. Which, of course, the backstory is that there are witches there, and one who was a witch that sacrificed a child, her child, and she went onto this tree and hung herself. And she cursed the land, and whoever who bought the land and stuff. Like there was a similar case after that related to that. Or an instance where there were Patrick Wilson was listening to a video recording or an audio recording, and everyone else's voice is there except for Lili Taylor's. Taylor. Lili Taylor. Her voice is not heard. And of course, in the case she was getting some bruises, and of course I instantly knew that she was going to get possessed, because that's another thing. Whether they leave sometimes, like they leave bruises, of course they're gonna get possessed by something, by a demon or something. Like the first Paranormal Activity, like the lead girl was bitten. Of course, that's when I knew that she was eventually going to get possessed. And of course, that's what happened with Lili Taylor. She gets all these bruises. She's going to get possessed. I knew instantly after that. So, and then all this, and this is why I like it was getting more interesting further into the film, because they start beginning, because after all this other stuff that's happened, they put a team together. They get this one other guy and a cop, and they start staying at the place for a bit. They're setting up all the equipment, like cameras, like if the temperature drops, when it gets cold, it'll take a picture, and they set the cameras the spots where the activity would happen. Um, so far nothing happens though, but until during the night, where the camera to lead to the door leads to the basement, it opens up by itself, and they go down there, and they start videotaping. Hence, this scene right here, where they're saying, "This is whatever," and will you reveal yourself or do something, you know. Um, and then the thing that happens is, or another thing that I've heard to say that happened during the day is that when Vera Farmiga was like it was either Vera Farmiga, I forget, it was either Vera Farmiga or Lili Taylor. It was like taking off the clothes of the clothesline, and the wind blows one sheet and lands on this invisible figure that makes like a figure, and then it blows away. Or during the night when one of the daughters is sleepwalking again, and it's taking pictures. Same thing. There's something that's with her going up the stairs. The door closes and keeps on flashing. More pictures being taken, and it shows that it leads up to the wardrobe. Like there's a secret compartment there, and that's where that boy that the younger daughter was referring to earlier, hid there. What was it? Like Vera Farmiga. She goes in there, and she finds the noose, the noose that the woman hung herself with, and then what happened? I think there's something popped out at her, and then it caused her to fall through the floor. Of course, like I said, jump scares again. And it was a good look at an angle shot where the view shot where she's fallen through, and then she lands all the way through all into the basement. And one thing I don't understand is that I did not get is that it clearly shows that it falls all the way down. She falls all the way down to the basement, and Patrick Wilson, he's calling her name, Lorraine, and he starts pounding on the walls. Which one thing I don't get clearly, one of the first idea you get is go all the way down to the basement. That's where it leads all the way down to. But he starts pounding on the walls, and that's a nitpick that I didn't get. Why he's pounding on the walls instead of just going straight down to the basement, where it's clearly where the first thing, where all the demonic things that happen down there. But then it leads to as Vera Farmiga is down there, she sees another jump scare of a woman hanging herself again, and then she gets so scared that as she's going up the stairs, she leaves her necklace behind because that was given by her daughter. That gets left behind there, and then one of the couple's the married couple's daughter. It was a good looking shot, a good looking effect where her hair is getting pulled up like it's static. But then she gets pulled. She's getting pulled every which way, and then all the crosses they fall down, and then they're getting all this other paranormal stuff. So they have enough evidence. They're going to the next morning. They're going to go to the church to get approval for an exorcism stuff, and Vera Farmiga as Lorraine. She sees her daughter because the necklace was left behind down there, and it's like moving off of that the connection with her and her daughter. So as back with her daughter at their place, her daughter sees Annabelle rocking on the chair. Which another thing, of course, it's a creepy looking doll. Of course, James Wan has a reference to that because in the first Saw film has a jigsaw doll, then Dead Silence has the doll of Billy the ventriloquist dummy, and now he has another film with this another creepy doll named Annabelle. I guess James Wan has a thing for creepy looking dolls in his movies, because Saw, he had the jigsaw Saw, and then the ventriloquist dummy in Dead Silence named Billy, and now this one named Annabelle. But it is a creepy looking doll though. But yeah, at the same time, I was not scared by the doll. But it is a creepy looking one. How the way it's like, especially when you see it, when she finds it rocking on the chair. So, and then she turns back and it's gone. And then as soon as they get home, rushing over to get home, the chair picks up on its own and gets thrown. And Patrick Wilson saves his daughter at the last minute. Then they find that Annabelle is still back in the glass case, untouched. Um, and then when the family, to the advice of the family, they move down to like a motel, to stay there for a bit while the house was that they're getting help from the church, which they show the priest all this evidence stuff. They have to get approval from the Vatican and stuff. And when they come back, they get a call. They call from the husband that his wife took two of her daughters back to the house, and she smelled like rotting meat. She's possessed now, and they hurry back to the house. The two people that was helping with the other guy, I forget what the other guy's name, named Drew, and the cop. The cop, he gets a shotgun, blasts open the door, and they hear the screams from the basement. They hurry down there, and she's about to stab her daughter, but they hold her, and they tie her to the chair. They handcuff her, and also they put a big sheet over her. And it's too late it's too late for the church and stuff. So Ed has to do the exorcism himself. And this act here I thought was very good. Is that she's like signature like screaming and he's speaking what was it Latin, I think it was. And as it's going on, the woman, the wife, tied to the chair, and she's still like underneath the sheet, and she like coughs up this blood, and as Patrick Wilson says, by the power of whatever, it says, "I command you to reveal yourself," and then she stops, and all of a sudden the chair she's sitting on starts lifting up, and she's upside down. Go look in effect and shot where she's upside down. And then as she becoming there's a shot where the sheet rips open, and you can see that she's now she looks more like a demon, like the eyes and the creepy face, and now she's fully possessed like a demon. Go look at shot where you see the sheet ripped open, you can see like the eye right here, and like Or was this where a huge shelf almost crushes Patrick Wilson, but he gets out of the way? Or the shotgun picks itself up and tries to shoot at him, but the cop gets him out of the way. And Lili Taylor gets released. She releases herself and she bites the cop here on the cheek right here. And as the other guy named Drew, he's searching for the other daughter who's hidden under the floor. He finds her, but then Lili Taylor, possessed Lili Taylor, I would say, goes under the floor with I think it was like a pair of scissors, I think it was. Finds her, but then Patrick Wilson is still continuing doing the exorcism, and Vera Farmiga is trying to tell her, fight it, this is your life you're fighting for, and the exorcism is done, and she's back to normal. The bruises of her is all gone, and she's like all crying and stuff. And also, one thing I forgot to mention, as the exorcism was going, you have all these birds that are flying around, and this is like they hit themselves and break their own necks. It shows a wide shot of the house and how the camera angle moves down to into the basement window. At the end of during this whole exorcism thing, I thought was pretty well done, editing wise and camera use wise and effects wise. And everything's back to normal. All of the family is now safe, and they take the wind up box with them. I got like a symbol of what the haunting that was with them, so they put back another other items in the room. and Vera Farmiga comes in and tells Patrick Wilson that there's a case in Long Island they need to investigate. And of course, Long Island means the Amityville, because that's where it was, in Long Island, New York. And then it shows the wind-up box again, open, winding up making the music again. And then it shows, during the credits, it shows like the real-life photos of Ed, Lorraine Warren, and the family as well. So, The Conjuring, I do like the film. I thought, for the positives, I liked that it was well edited. It was effects wise was pretty good. Well shot at times, and camera angles wise. Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, who plays Ed and Lorraine Warren, I thought they did a pretty good job. The Ron Livingston and Lili Taylor, who was the husband and wife, and the other 5 daughters. They were not that bad though, but I was more focusing on Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga. But because I thought they were the most interesting characters in the movie, I would like to see more of them. Because it showed them at the beginning, and then for a good chunk of the movie, like almost getting to the middle, it shows us concentrating more on this family. Well, of course, because it was because I had to show them being haunted and stuff. I do get that though, until they ask for help. But I was more focusing on them. But when they do the investigating and then get into the exorcism, I thought it was pretty satisfying to me for my liking. I just don't think I just don't think this isn't an R rating. I think I definitely could have been PG-13. Like the horror film, most of the horror films nowadays, they're just PG-13 now. But also directing wise from James Wan, I thought he did a good job as well directing. For best film wise, and if I had to put it in a particular order, maybe I'll put for the first Saw movie, and then maybe I'll say Death Sentence, and then Insidious, and then maybe I'll put the Conjuring a little bit above Dead Silence. Because I do like Dead Silence though, but I was feeling the same way for this film and The Conjuring, so they're both kind of like there, but I would say The Conjuring is a bit better than Dead Silence, I would say. Furious 7 would be at the bottom because it's not James Wan's doing though, but it's just how the way. It's a lot of things I have a lot of issues with the film, but the actors they're not the problem with the movie though. But it's just I have a lot of issues with it, like some of the CGI and the action scenes were most of them I just didn't care for. So, and also he's also directing Aquaman, which after seeing Batman vs Superman, I'm not interested in Aquaman. No. I know James Wan. He was signed on to direct Aquaman. I'm sorry. I have no interest in Aquaman. No. So, but The Conjuring, I do like the movie. I thought it's a well directed, well edited, well shot, good effects. You know, they try to make it look like an old school horror film because they taking place in the 70s and using like all the old school equipment, for what they did in the 70s. Yeah, I do get that. Trying to make it like it says like the back here from a daily variety, a sensationally entertaining old school freak out. They use the word old school because they try to make it look like it's old school. For the special features, scaring of course they beefed up the word shit, scaring the shit out of you basically on the feature right here, but they beeped out the word. I was never scared by the movie. I really wasn't, and I could see where the jump scares were gonna happen because I was like, oh, okay, that's someone's gonna pop out, right? Yeah, there was. That's this is a horror technique in horror films that's being milked nowadays, because that's the only way to scare audiences is with jump scares. Whatever happened to good old fashioned suspense, build up suspense and stuff to get the scares. But nowadays, yeah, if you want to throw in one jump scare, okay, that's fine. But not doing it too many times in horror films is being way overdone now. So, but I was never scared by the film. I could see the jump scares coming. I could definitely see. I could do like the scenes where okay, someone's gonna pop up right there, or oh, after that scene right there, after the when she falls through, someone's gonna pop up there. Because there's always thing when there's silence and they look at something, and all of a sudden we know someone's gonna come at them. So, but yeah, I do like The Conjuring because for the best part of the movie as Patrick Wilson, Vera Farmiga, I thought they did a pretty good job in their roles. As Ed Lorraine Warren, based on the true case files of the Warrens. Because they have reports from Amityville and the stuff the happening from The Haunting in Connecticut that inspired The Haunting in Connecticut. But at the same time, the look of the film doesn't look like it's based on a true story, though. But even though I do understand they're playing real people in real life, though. But just for me, it's just how the way it doesn't look like it's based on true events or true story, or whatever. Because most horror films, you always use the based on a true story or inspired by true events and stuff, like Wolf Creek or, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre was inspired by real life serial killer Ed Gein. So, but the stuff that was used for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre did not happen in real life, though. So yeah. They're always like stretching the truth on a lot of things. So yeah, but overall I do like The Conjuring. The Conjuring 2. After seeing the new trailer recently, I'm not entirely sure on though. But I mean, I'm still not entirely sure on the sequel, Insidious Chapter 2 or the prequel, Chapter 3. I do like the first one though, but. Not best of interest though, but one day I'll give him a look, but not anytime soon. But anyway, yeah, that's my review for The Conjuring. Don't want to go on too long for this. I already said the positive things. There was a couple of nitpicks I mentioned though, but like Patrick Wilson banging on the walls, even though Vera Farmiga fell through the floor. I don't know why he just instantly get the idea of just going straight into the basement, just instead of pounding on the walls. But the ratings it was getting, I do think it's a bit overhyped, but not overly. But it is what it is, though. If people they say it's a really good movie, because even my brother he enjoyed the movie. He thought it was like one of the best horror films that he's recently have seen. That's his opinion though, but I was never scared by the movie, so. And this was not even in my top list of films of 2013, so. But anyway, yeah, that's my review for The Conjuring. I would say it's a pretty decent horror film, but I was not scared by it though. Conjuring 2. I'll wait. The Conjuring 2. I'll wait for, but at the same time didn't need a sequel because this film left no room for a sequel. But what can you do? Anyway, thanks for watching and stay tuned on the next movie review. Later.